I'm 28 male, happily married to my wife Sarah, 31. We've been together for over 6 years and married for 3 years. My mother, Laura, 45, had me pretty early on. She always wanted a big family and has been with my dad since they were teens. After she had me, she decided to be a stay-at-home mother, and in the space of 10 years had 7 kids, so I have loads of siblings. She's recently announced that I'm to become a brother again. Sarah and I have been struggling to conceive for the past 3 years. We'd really like to have a kid together and considered looking for other options, but my family talked us out, saying we shouldn't trust our child with some unknown woman. I've suggested my mother or my sister carry for us if they're that worried, but both of them declined, saying that they can't have any more children and won't be able to carry. My sister has 5 kids. And just to know, I love Sarah regardless if we have a child or not and am willing to adopt, but she really wants us to have our own. Sarah and I have tried a lot of options, and recently, unfortunately, she had another loss, and this was really upsetting and depressing for both of us. So I've shown my support, and my mother, who knew about our struggles and recent news, invited us out for dinner at her house yesterday to support and cheer Sarah up. Sarah wanted to attend as she has a very good relationship with my mother. My entire family was there, and the dinner was going well. Sarah congratulated my mother on her pregnancy, and I thought that would be it. Then my sister announced that she was pregnant again, and basically she and my mother ended up having the baby talk really loudly where my sister was excited to have another brother and my mother wanted to have another grandchild. That was too much for Sarah, so she got up and left in tears, and I followed her shortly after. She had to cut off her family because they kept telling her she was not a woman for not being able to have children and was too old, and this got to her too much. After we got home, my mother called me and said Sarah behaved very rudely and she was expecting an apology as it had ruined the dinner to celebrate life. I got angry and told her that she was completely out of line and inconsiderate for having the baby talk with my sister when she knew Sarah had another loss, and her life celebration dinner made things a lot worse for both Sarah and me. I've also said that we would not have come if she told us what the dinner was about. In the end, I was called an idiot for not appreciating another life being born. Am I the idiot? Edit to point out, my mother has told Sarah and me that the dinner was to support her after the loss. In no way or form did she mention this being about the celebration of life pregnancy announcement, fertility lottery and babies. We wouldn't have come if it was the case and we were aware of it. Not the idiot, but let me get this straight. They've shot down options that you and your wife have considered. First, they declined to carry for you because neither could have more children. Then they both spent a dinner, allegedly planned to help console your wife after a loss, loudly yapping about their pregnancies, the ones they claimed they couldn't have. Your mom and sister are the massive idiots here, and I say keep them out of any future family planning discussions entirely. I'm still shocked that OP will have a brother who's 29 years his junior. Or am I reading that wrong? Did they intentionally get knocked up to show off their functioning reproductive systems or something? Mommy, why did you and Daddy have so many kids? Well, dear, you and your brother are spite babies. Yeah, tell me you hate my wife without telling me you hate my wife vibes. OP, do you see a pattern here? This did not happen by accident. They manipulated you out of pursuing other options and lied in the worst possible way to manipulate you both to show up for dinner. They knew how much it would hurt. It wasn't a bug, it was a feature. Your mother and sister are knowingly sabotaging your wife and your happiness. I would say that OP's mother and sister very likely feel superior to OP's wife since she cannot carry a pregnancy. However, these women are quite clearly able to get pregnant easily, and for many women being so fertile makes them feel superior as a woman. That is beyond cruel, and I cannot see how they have any respect for life when they behave this way. I'm so glad you supported your wife. It's so heartbreaking to hear that she had to deal with this because she received zero support from her own family. My wife has never been a big eater. That's fine, and I don't have a problem with it. What I have a problem with is that my wife is also a greedy eater. She always prefers a large variety of foods together at a time, just in smaller portions. At home, this is annoying, but it's manageable. When we go out to eat, though, it becomes a nightmare. She will order whatever can get her the most variety of options, ignoring the cost. She will add sides, appetizers, and desserts to her meal, only to eat 1 or 2 bites of each thing she orders. Maybe this would be manageable if she ate leftovers, but she refuses to, so all the food ends up going to waste. Most of the time I find myself ordering small meals and eating what remains of her orders to try and justify it. But I don't like 90% of what she orders and want to eat my damn meal. A week ago I got incredibly annoyed when she ordered herself a full rack of ribs and an appetizer, only to eat like 20% of each. I only ordered a salad so I could finish off the rest, but I hated the sauces she chose for the ribs and most of the appetizers went untouched. As we were leaving, I told her that I was sick of spending $40+ on her alone for food she didn't end up finishing. I told her that from now on she could order 2 things off the kids' menu, or we could work out something we both would enjoy and share. She ignored me and thought I wasn't serious. Well, last night we went out to a wing place. I asked for the kids' menu as we sat down and she got confused. When we started talking, I told her that she either needed to order off the kids' menu or share with me. She got quiet, refused to speak to me, and started saying that I was insulting and belittling her. We ended up going out into the parking lot and having a fight before she got an Uber home. She's now not talking to me, and this morning I got a call from her dad screaming at me for what I did. I'm having second thoughts now about this. I had to LOL because you asked for a kids' menu for your wife. The next day her dad calls screaming at you. It kind of makes the puzzle pieces fit in my opinion, LOL. Daddy, my husband said I'm a kid. Oh no, Daddy will fix it for you. Okay, not the idiot, because you talked to her about wasting food and money. Is this the first time you've ever expressed your feelings about this? If so, then letting behavior continue until you're boiling over isn't healthy for you or her. I have to agree with you. It's so ridiculous. Maybe that's where her problem lies. Daddy spoilt her and let this bad behavior of wasting food slide. OP must ask Daddy to support her then. Wasting food like that is a serious pet peeve for me. But I think the execution of your frustration could have been better. I would have taken the leftovers home for her to have the next day and only prepared my own food. Inconveniencing her in private, not public, may work better and won't make you look like an idiot, even though you did warn her. You are the idiot. Why not stop eating out so much? Personally, I couldn't stand that attitude of wasting food. Although it seemed to be only about the money wasted, not the actual food. By the way, why are you the only person paying for food? Doesn't she have any income? Daddy doesn't give her money anymore. Just tell her to pay for her meals. Forcing her to order off the kids' menu is insulting. I, 38 male, have 2 daughters, Nora and Lily, teens from my former marriage. I got married to my current wife, who has a daughter, Jenna, a tween. Jenna has a disability, she's in a wheelchair. Before I met her mom, her life was pretty much inside the house. She was homeschooled up until I got her in a private school, but she still struggles with socializing due to growing up so isolated. My wife didn't want to, but I pushed for Jenna to get therapy, which I hope would help her with her relationship with Nora and Lily. But the girls took their time to get to know her, so yes, they did exclude her from activities, but I had several sit-downs with them in hopes of getting them to understand that Jenna is a normal girl and has so much in common with them, so they shouldn't feel like she's difficult just because of her disability. I thought things were getting better, but days ago, and while we were at a beach resort for 4 days, Jenna stayed with us while the girls kept going out. On our second day, I saw the girls getting ready to get ice cream. I asked Jenna if she wanted to join them and she said yes. So I asked them to take her with them and they were unsure at first but then took her. An hour later, my wife came to me saying that Jenna called her saying the girls left her near one of the benches and told her to wait 5 minutes till they got ice cream but didn't come back. So we went there immediately and found Jenna sitting alone while the girls were eating ice cream and hanging out at a different location. I got so mad at them, especially after they admitted to leaving her there. I told them vacation was over for them and they had to pack their stuff and take them home. Both were crying and pleading in the car while my wife and Jenna waited at the resort. I dropped the girls off and had my mom stay with them. Then I returned and resumed the vacation. Both girls and their mom were all over me about this, and their mom went on a rant about me favouring my stepdaughter over my biological ones and being a doormat for my wife. The girls were upset, but I explained why I did what I did. Their mom defended them, saying that I shouldn't force them to care for their stepsister and expect them to be her maids and stop their life for her. It got to my former in-laws, who blamed me for ruining the much-awaited vacation for the girls and acting irrationally. I question whether I messed up and went too far with my reaction. All I wanted was for them to be upfront and honest and not abandon her the way they did. Everyone's the idiot here. Are you sure this is because Jenna has a disability, or is it because she's the stepsister? You can read so many stories about people being forced to be friends with step-siblings and how badly that went. Yes, leaving her there alone was bad, and yes, you should have punished them for it. But it would help if you also weren't forcing them to be friends. Let them make a relationship at their own pace. Also, she's not just a stepsister, but also a much younger stepsister. No teen wants to hang out with a kid and play babysitter. I think OP needs to be clear that any punishment, and I believe there should be one, isn't because they don't like their stepsister. It's because they endangered her well-being. Yeah, I'm not condoning their actions, far from it. But I have to wonder, when you did these sit-downs, were you only thinking about Jenna's feelings, or did you consider your daughter's feelings too? Because there are two sides to every story. I wonder how they feel about this. Given that they've continually tried to exclude Jenna and avoid bonding with her, and he keeps insisting they do, I would put good money on him only looking at this from her perspective, to be honest. Most step-parents realize at some point that you can't create a bond if all kids aren't ready or willing. OP is also pushing them to be his wife's stepchildren, and his wife has treated those kids a fraction as poorly as her own child by keeping her housebound, isolated, and socially undeveloped. No wonder they're acting up. Like, sure, the first impulse here is to be shocked that the kids would do a mean thing to another kid for another hour. But stop and think about the underlying conditions for a second, and you get the sense that there's something really wrong with the adults here. Exactly this, and your point about the OP's wife keeping her child isolated, housebound, and socially undeveloped is spot on. This woman was a bad parent to her child. Maybe it's good that OP's children are not around OP's new wife. And while he might be a superhero to his stepchild, he is becoming the father who will be shocked his adult kids had no contact. My female 26 husband, 31, woke up not in the mood this morning and told me to make him a cup of coffee before he went to work. So I went and made it with extra sugar, just how he always likes it. But when I handed it to him and he tasted it, he made a face and said it was too sweet. I told him this is how he usually has it, but he said he wasn't in a good mood today and told me to make another one. Mind you, I was already 20 minutes late for work. I told him no, and he'd already had one and should just drink it. The next thing I knew, he dropped the cup on the floor purposely and said that he no longer has it, and I should go ahead and make another one. I refused, and then we had an argument, and I just walked out. He texted me a bunch later, saying I disrespected him and forced him to not have his daily coffee by acting stubborn and having an attitude. Then reminded me of how much work he's picked and how much time and rest he'd sacrificed to help me while I was recovering from the birth of our son, and that was just the first week I had to get up. He said I owed him and should have returned at least one of his many favors instead of deciding to ruin his day. I came home and he's here refusing to look at me. Am I the idiot? Should I have just taken 5 minutes to make him another one? He sacrificed things because you were recovering from giving birth, and you should be grateful and pay him back? Excuse me? Girl, take 5 minutes and Google divorce lawyer. I can't believe he had the nerve to throw the coffee you made to the floor and then say you disrespect him? How disrespectful was what he did? And then compare it to his help from birth recovery from his child? Did you throw the baby nappies on the floor if you didn't like how he changed them? I agree with everyone else. I know people here hate using the term gaslighting. Still, the fact that he has you wondering if you're the idiot in this situation shows me he has utterly distorted reality for you. He is being abusive, and you need an escape plan now. He just woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Wild. I'm sorry, OP, you don't deserve this. He's done basic husband duties and expects you to roll out the red carpet for it. He should have wanted to take care for you after you had your child and never held that over your head. I just can't. Some people behave in ways I can't wrap my head around. Never in a million years would I treat someone like this, especially someone I'm supposed to love. OP, not only are you not the idiot, there's something seriously wrong with your husband. My nephew, Michael, teen, just finished his sophomore year. Unfortunately, due to circumstances that I'd rather not discuss, I am Michael's legal guardian at the moment. The only real issue I've had with Michael is the fight to get him out of bed every morning on time for school. I made him set the alarm on his phone, but he would always turn it off and then sleep in. I would try putting Ravioli, my cat, on his chest. but Michael would swat her away. I learned that my sister would often let Michael lay in until it was 11, then drop him off at school and lie that she had car troubles, so it would be an excused late arrival. It took me throwing off his blankets and physically dragging him out of bed by his foot for Michael to get up. I was running late for work one morning and Michael refused to get up again. I didn't have time to drag Michael out of bed and I told him this. Michael wasn't budging, so I grabbed a squirt bottle I used to house train my cats, filled it in the sink, and then squirted Michael with it until he got up. He got out of bed and ran to the bathroom in under 30 seconds, a huge improvement from 10 minutes of playing tug-of-war with Michael. I used the spray bottle every morning until he started using his alarm and getting up on time. Michael and I were visiting my cousin, Lucinda, and Michael made a joke like, "I don't want Uncle Sean to spray me again." Lucinda asked for elaboration, then scolded me on the way home, saying that using the squirt bottle was demeaning to Michael and that I was treating my nephew like an animal. I don't see it that way at all. I can't drag him out of bed every morning. If we were both a decade younger, it might have been possible, but Michael's 15 and a big kid at that. Plus, now he's getting up on his own. Am I the idiot for using a squirt bottle for cats on Michael? Not the idiot. It sounds like a pretty humane method of training large animals. Nephews. Lucinda can deal with the kids living in her home as she chooses. She doesn't get to tell you how to deal with the one living in your home. Plus, if he joked about it, he found it funny after the fact. It'll be a stupid, funny memory of the time his uncle chased him out of bed with a squirt bottle. Teenagers are not built for school's early hours, but Michael needs to be there and on time. You're doing the responsible thing, making him get up. The method is beside the point. OP fought so hard because he cares. OP didn't say, but I guess this kid hasn't had someone that cares about his path in life for quite some time. I've heard neglected kids say they wish their parents cared enough to have the kind of rules their friends were complaining about. This young man knows that he has an uncle who truly cares and was willing to wrestle a giant sack of potatoes every morning to see him succeed. The reason that the young man said his joke was because he started to feel secure. OP, I'm sorry for whatever circumstances brought you both to this moment. He's lucky to have you.